Chapter 218, The Raid, 2005. I thought I was done with the dope game. I had a strange feeling of seeing freedom in the distance. A strange sight it was, but a welcoming walk. I wanted out because deep inside I hated the drug game. It made me feel like a man with just faults. It made me stifle my ideas because once in the drug game, it occupies your every thought. So-and-so still owe me and so-and-so acting strange. So-and-so say he need a pistol and so-and-so just called from jail. So-and-so killed so-and-so cause so-and-so made some statements. So-and-so on the run and so-and-so family hate him. The drug game was no different from any other profession if one thought successfully. You had to focus. Only difference is no one was getting longevity. Get in and get out. We don't quit till we get caught. We get caught, get out, and get in. Fuck. The stress. The stress was worse because mistakes weren't allowed like any other professions. One mistake would have you fighting for your freedom. One mistake could cost you your breathing. One misjudging of another one's intention will make one a statistic and the other one in detention. I had to quit because my dreams of being a filmmaker were being tarnished by being unfocused. My mind was trapped into trafficking, harnessed into hustling, obsessed with fully Uzis and avoiding all the sucker shit. I only had a few thousand e-pills left and a few pounds of high grade. The finish line was close. The money was stacked. The guns were about to be put up and I was putting up the all black. I was back wearing bright colors again because it was a reflection of my mental. After collecting some of the last money I had left in the streets, I dropped off most of it in my house, then headed to my stash spot to pick up the last of the guns and money that was left there. Around $80,000, a few assault rifles and a Mac 11. I smiled at the thought that I was almost done. As I got into the spot, I put the .357 mag that I had on my hip inside of a table and sat down. I was tired from running for the past 36 hours non-stop. I began calculating in my head all of the product left and how fast it should be gone. I smiled to myself. One more week. Max. Done. I'm turning a new leaf. Oh shit, the door was being kicked in. The .357 was on the table. I immediately reached for it. The invaders got to me before I could reach for it. What the fuck? I was on the ground with guns to my head. Shit. I was looking at bright flashlights and gun barrels. It was cops. They got to me within a millimeter of a second, it seemed, with guns drawn. I pushed a gun from my face but was overwhelmed and slammed onto the ground, busting the back of my head. Blood was spilling out of my wounds, staining the carpet and the walls. It was the first time in my life my blood was shed by the hands of another man. I didn't like that feeling. All I thought about was revenge. Within seconds, I was in handcuffs laying face down on the ground in the living room. 8 cops were in their apartment with their guns cocked and aimed. Mr. Mowat, what are you doing out here? The one with his knee in my back asked. I was in Bladensburg, Maryland, which was a 20-minute drive from my neighborhood. Bladensburg isn't a quiet, low-key town, but I liked it because I wouldn't stand out. I blended in with the locals. This town was where the British demolished the American military in 1814 and then marched into Washington, D.C. and burnt down the U.S. Capitol. The town had a history of weakness and a history of bigotry. "Mr. Mowat, what are you doing out here?" the snarling pigs asked once again. "Out where?" I replied. "I could go anywhere I want to go. And what the fuck are y'all doing in here? What is your warrant for?" They didn't respond. "What's the warrant for?" I yelled out from the floor. No one responded. "Where's your warrant?" The cops were looking around the apartment room to room, and the pig let his knee off of my back and began moving things around. He then walked into the kitchen, opening cabinets and refrigerators. The .357 was still on the table beside me, and from the ground I could look up and see the butt of the handle. If I could get one of these cuffs off real quick, I could grab it and kill the one in the kitchen, quickly at close range. It was also a Mac 11 in a flower pot on the balcony. Once I got to that one, taking out the other cops would be easy. They were trespassing on my property. This was a legal kill. I watched as the pig in the kitchen was tearing it up, and I could hear the pigs in the bedroom throwing things around, but the cuffs were on too tight. So I eased myself up onto my feet and tried to reach my hand in the table with my hands behind my back. I couldn't reach it because of the handcuffs, and the table was too heavy to kick over. So I headed for the front door as they were searching the apartment. I opened the front door with my hands cuffed behind me and headed for the hallway barefooted. The 4 pigs caught up to me quickly since I was running with my arms cuffed behind me. They slammed me again, leaving blood all over the hallway walls, and I was dragged back into the apartment with my head bouncing off the beige tiled floors. An ambulance was called, in which I refused treatment. All I wanted to know was, why were they in the apartment? What was their probable cause and what was written on the warrant? "Fuck you, don't touch me!" I yelled at the medic who was trying to put some gauze on my gaping wound. The officers were now trying to hold me down so the medic could stop the bleeding, but I kept moving my head and fighting. They gave up and I was transferred to the hospital. Once I got there, I again refused treatment. "Fuck you, don't touch me." The pigs searched the apartment and reported that they found a fully automatic and fully loaded Norinco SKS assault rifle, a Romario 7.62x39 semi-auto assault rifle, and a .357 revolver, all fully loaded. Over 1,500 ecstasy pills in the freezer, a bulletproof vest, pants, and hat, tens of thousands of dollars, and a couple pounds of weed. While in a police car, once we got to the police station, I asked over and over to see their warrant and picked up on the fact that they couldn't produce one. That seemed a little suspect. I knew from experience that that was the first thing they showed you once they entered your home. "Where's the warrant?" "I want to see the warrant." They ignored me. "Where's your warrant?" They continued to ignore me. "Hold up. Y'all don't have a warrant." "I can tell. Y'all don't have no warrant. Because if you had a warrant, you would have been showed it to me." "Oh, y'all done fucked up. This is a constitutional violation. I'ma sue the badge off you stupid pigs. Where's your fucking warrant?" I was then processed to be taken to jail. I was literally facing letters now. Caught red-handed. It was November 17th, 2005, exactly a year to the date that I got released. I was in society for 365 days again. I was 34 years old. Chapter 219. Upper Marlboro Jail, Maryland. When someone becomes a serial recidivist, subconsciously they may want to stay in prison. Subconsciously, prison may be their refuge. Subconsciously, they may be an institutional psychopath. Society may be too demanding, ironically too restrictive. The fear of obligations, the fear of failure. Though being arrested is a failure in itself, failure of expectations is worse. In jail, you had no expectations. In society, you had to meet them head on. In jail, all of the requirements that made you a man was removed, and the men unconsciously became boys. You had no bills. The three major components for survival were free: food, clothing, and shelter. Free. Healthcare cost pennies in comparison to society. We slept on used sheets, used pillowcases, wore used socks, used drawers. Someone washed your dirty clothes and brought it back to you. You were required to clean your room, make your bed, sheets tucked tight, blanket folded right, shoes under the bed, go outside and play if they let you, finish playing when someone said to, get ready for bed too. By 10, no pictures on the wall, no TV, no phone, just cold dreams in a cold room for a cold soul. Man, this was the life of a child, not the life of a man. But I was a man, a man's man, a certified man, yet I had childlike tendencies. I had become my worst nightmare. I had become institutionalized like the old timers at the halfway house. I had become the old timers that I swear I wouldn't become. I was now a OT. I was now a unk. I was useless, a dreamer with not enough courage to fulfill the dream. Scared of being broke, scared of change, scared of the challenge, scared to use my brain, scared of myself, scared to put the gun down, but not scared to go to prison, not scared to get gunned down. I lived a life of total confusion. I constantly tested the boundaries of the law. Then when I was arrested, I would stare out of the jail window. I would fight for my freedom. But once I got my freedom, I still didn't feel free, and it seemed that I tried my best to lose it. The fear of obligations. Was society too demanding? I seemed to strive in society, but why was I failing? They said every person that is doing wrong subconsciously wanted to come to an end. They will do things that are outside of their characteristics to bring the show to a close. The Scarface effect. The crossing of Sosa. The killing of Manny over a hoe. Damn. It has to end. It has to come to a conclusion. But we all hoped it would end in a flash of glory, but the flash is usually an illusion. It's Lee's Law, Benny Lee banging, or it's peaceful off some Henny while slanging dick up in some bad broad. As long as it ends on our term, then it's all good. Thank God. It was total confusion. Wise men change, but fools stay the same. I couldn't argue stupidity. Here I was back in jail again at 34 years old. This time I will probably be gone for a long time because I'm still on parole. The severity of my history, plus this a brand new case. I was looking at serving at least 30 years. Already had 14 under my belt. I couldn't believe what had happened. It was a nightmare I thought I would wake up from. My brain was hurting. I would have preferred death than to be back in jail. I only wished I had gotten a hold of the .357 Magnum. I had enough firepower in that place to put down their whole force. It happened too fast. They didn't have a warrant. Their comrades were all supposed to be wearing black tapes across their badges. Their comrades were all supposed to be crying right now and laying roses on their caskets. Their comrades were supposed to be on depression medication. Flags flying half-staff. I was seriously going to quit. Seriously. I was seriously hanging up my robe. Nah, seriously. I was at the finish line. Seriously. I was supposed to make it this time. Seriously. I was on the cusp of that somewhat impenetrable threshold of quitting. I was a few bricks away. 25 pounds away. A couple thousand punk-ass ecstasy pills away. A slight shift of thought pattern away. I was there. Seriously. I laid on my bunk at the Upper Marlboro, Maryland jail and stared up at the bright lights on the ceiling while listening to my cellie rant about his problems. We were in bad situations. Mine was worse than everyone in the cell block. A vein on my temple had gotten so thick that it was on the verge of busting. My face was stone. My emotions were sullen. I got set up again, and probably by the same person that set me up the first time, when I got arrested in the Jag with the pistols. And I still didn't know who. Now I suspected everybody. Now I didn't even trust my closest comrades. Now I began questioning my sanity, questioning my judgment, questioning my ability to discern danger in my immediate premises. I was slipping. For one, I hadn't evolved. I was the same person. If I couldn't read betrayal on the face of a perceived ally, then I could have easily been robbed by that same person. I could have easily been tricked by that same person. I could have easily been killed by that same person. Fuck. Hey,